healing. And in this particular episode today, we're going to be talking with Sélénée, who is a facilitator of Family Constellations Therapy. And I had heard about Family Constellations Therapy a while ago, specifically when I would go visit Turkey. It was very, very popular in that specific, especially in Istanbul, really, really popular. And everyone was like, you need to do a family constellation therapy and whatnot. And I was quite intrigued very much. And while I was sort of doing my research on family constellations, I came across Maureen. And I, did sort of some research on her. Who is she? What is she about? And what her work could really help me. And then I sort of let it go. And it was probably about, 7 or 8 months. I really didn't follow up with it. And then all of a sudden, somehow, I was going through, when you go through challenges and I guess you ask for a sign. And it was a really challenging moment in my life. And I was just like, please just give me a sign. What should I do? What should I do? And that sign was somehow I came across this podcast that I listened to, and the podcast was Family Constellations with Maureen. And as I was listening to it, I was like, wait a second, like this is the woman that I was researching, and now, like, I don't know how I came across this podcast, but it was just a beautiful synchronicity. And so I emailed her straight away. I was like, no more, and I'm going to email her, and I did, and we had our first session, which was, that was like end of 2018. It was end of 2018. And our first session together just completely blew my mind. It completely opened my heart and blew my mind, and I started to look at my family in a completely different way. And it brought so much healing, not only for myself, but so much healing for my whole entire family. And we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about what exactly she does. Really, really amazing. And I will let her share some of her work with you. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Maureen to the show. So let's go ahead. There we are, Maureen.
Hi, V.
Hi, so good to see you, Maureen.
So good to see you too. Thank you for the introduction and that beautiful story.
Yes,
Thank you.
I mean, I'm so excited that you are here. And I've been wanting to get you on the show from day one, because I know you have so much juice and so much wisdom and so much inspiration. I think a lot of people, first of all, don't know what family constellation is. I think
That's
it's still,
right, yeah.
isn't it? Yes. But yeah, and I want to start with first, a little bit of introduction from you. How did you come across family constellation? How did you find this incredible healing method? What was it for you in your life, like that changing point? Could you explain a little bit about your story?
Yes, sure. I hope you have 5 hours right now,
I
if you
wish,
really
I
want me
wish.
to dive
No,
deep.
we got to be done at 2:25, okay?
Perfect. So, long story short, I was going to become a psychologist back to Paris. But at the end, of my studies, I was like, well, something is missing, I couldn't fit, as a psychologist. So I was like, you know what? Let's move to America. And I moved to America. First, I was in Miami.
Paris. You're in Paris.
Yeah, I was in Paris to study psychology, and then I was like, no, something is missing. Let's move to America. I don't know, let's see something else, I just wanted some adventures. And I ended up in Miami. And here, actually, around the age of 25, 26, I hit rock bottom again. And I was like, what's going on, Maureen? You have been doing the work, you have done therapy, it's been 6 years, of your time. And you're still suffering, from the same things, from the same issues. And this is how, I was introduced to Family Constellations. One of my angels was like, well, you know what? You should try Family Constellations, because maybe there is something here for you. And I was like, okay, I can always give a try. at that point of my life, I was a bit despair. So I was like, okay, sure, no problem. And my first constellation was a breakthrough, gave me a breakthrough. It was an awakening. Everything, like made sense. I was like, wow, this is what I've been looking for, like, and finally everything was just like, like coming all together, and it was a beautiful resolution, and my heart, like was whole and complete again, like my missing link, like this is what I was looking for, and I was like, that's amazing. And so I did again, like work on myself, my life, for 1 year. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready now to study family constellations and open my private practice, like, so I moved to New York in 2013. I studied with Susie Tucker and Mark Wallin. Both of them studied with the founder of Family Constellations, Bert Hellinger. So I got the best. And then finally, I got the best. And then finally I was ready, like to open my own practice. And it's been almost 10 years, like of doing family constellations. And it saved my life. To be completely honest, like that method, was just a highlight, like of everything that I was waiting for me to be in the present moment.
Very different from talk therapy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, now I want to sort of, because now I'm sure people, for the watcher and the listener right now, they're probably just wondering, well, what do you do? What is a constellation? What is so can you explain a little bit, and thank you for sharing your story. It's sometimes it's just that one thing that really makes you like, wow, what is this? And now everything makes sense. But what is family constellation?
So Family Constellations, as I just said, was developed by Bert Hellinger in the 50s. He is from Germany, and it helps to uncover and dissolve any blockages affecting your relationships, your love life, your career, your health, like anything. We can really work on anything through your family story. Because the thing is, your first foundation, your first system that you are part with is your family. And if you are not at ease, at peace, in full understanding of what happened before you, you might, on a subconscious level, still trying to heal on behalf of your ancestors. And so you are going to repeat situations or stories that do not belong to you at all. And you are going to suffer, of course, like from all of them. But then you are pointless and clueless because despite your best efforts, you are like, I don't know, I'm still in pain, I'm still suffering. And here my answer is, look at your family story. What happened before you? So this is what we do with Family Constellations.
Yeah, I mean, our first session together, I was just so blown away because, like you said, on a subconscious level, I was still carrying the story that wasn't mine. And I was playing these roles, and I was like, but that's not my role. My role is a daughter. I just want to be a daughter, right? Yeah. But these roles that we kind of take on, or we become the father, or we become the mother, or we become the whatever. But like you said, like understanding the story from the past and the ancestors, and instead of punishing, I guess, yourself, rather celebrating them, and that way breaking the cycle.
Exactly.
That's what I felt, which was truly powerful. Now, do we need our family to do this constellation?
No, because guess what? You are your family, okay? And whatever you know about your family is enough for the work. So do not worry about that. Of course, sometimes I have a mother with her daughter, or I have a couple, coming together, maybe, for their children, but it is absolutely not needed, to have your entire family. Otherwise, it might be complicated actually to have everyone, at the same time. Yeah. So yes, you are your family. The perceptions that you have towards your family is more than enough to do the work. So do not worry about that.
Yeah. Now, the way you do it, I mean, I don't know any other way, first of all, but the way you, in our session, the way you lined up each member of the family, So
Yeah.
I felt that that was really powerful because obviously you don't need your family because you are your family.
Yeah.
But the way you, and you were using those footprints,
Yes.
which was,
Famous footprints.
standing on the footprint, really channeling their energy, especially, like grandparents. For me, like I felt, even like their mothers that I have no idea who they are, great great grandmas, and then the understanding of, oh my goodness, like I'm doing the same thing that was done before without even knowing. But I want to ask you a little bit about those footsteps. When you are standing and when you are embodying the energy of that family member, what is it doing on an unconscious level? Like, what is it sort of rewiring or shifting or changing in that moment?
It's all about your emotions and feelings that have been repressed. Because the thing is, your body knows. Your body is your map, like it's since day one when your parents made love. It's not even, with your birth, like it's when your parents made love and you decided, okay, you know what? Now I want, like to live my life, so let's come. Everything has been imprinted within yourself, within your body. And so whatever you did not understand, whatever you repressed, whatever you blocked, it's still stuck in your body. And when you are finally on those footsteps, footprints, because you are in the present moment with me, like holding that space for you, you are going to let your emotions and feelings, like raise up to the surface. This is what
And it did.
happens.
I mean, I was crying the whole time.
Yeah,
Like
this
it
is
was
what
so,
happens.
like I
Yeah.
even like want to cry now because it was so powerful and so emotional. Like as you're talking about, I could just feel the goosebumps. It's like
Yeah.
you literally, yeah, like you hold such an amazing space, Maureen. Like the work you do is so important. But it really truly makes sense. Like the body is keeping a hold of every
It's
single
keeping
thing,
score.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And all the stories, and not just your story, but your mom's story, your dad's story. And then it's like this, well, who am I? Like without my family, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So tapping into that,
Yeah.
yeah, into that
Exactly.
individual.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk a little bit more about family wounds, right? And I think we all have family wounds, but
All of us.
could you explain to us a little bit of, like, what is a family wound?
Yeah. So family wound is anything that has not been understood by your family system until now. So it can be, for example, your grandmother, your grandfather abandoned your grandmother and she was pregnant. Here is a family wound. Or someone had a miscarriage, or someone, like committed suicide, or a war story, like it can also be as anxiety, depression, like not being recognized, like and acknowledged, by the family member, dealing with that. It's anything that unfortunately the family system until now was unable to process because of a lack of responsibilities or a lack of awareness, or just, it was way too painful to do it. And so someone else, next generation, will have to take care of it. Because no matter what, your family system, your family story is always looking for healing and reconciliation. This is what you have to keep in mind. So right now, what you can do actually for your children, for the next generation, even for your parents, is to take responsibilities, for your life and do the recognition part, like acknowledging, like what has been going on in my life until now,
Yeah.
what I've been suffering from,
Yeah.
and then do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, my mother is on this show. She's watching
Oh,
it right now, and
hi,
it's
Bill.
yeah. So I remember like after the session, I was, Mom, I love you so much, and like I'm sorry for everything I've ever done to you guys. Like holding them, celebrating them. It's just that switch, isn't it? Because we're so quick. We're so quick to like blame and like, well, they did this to me, and this is the way I am because of them.
Yeah.
But it's that switch of because she is acting from her story because she was a child too. And what did her mother do? So it's really about moving, like for me, I really experienced like that moving away from just, seeing, but rather seeing in a different way and really feeling in a different way.
It is bigger than us. It's not only about us, it's about them and what happened before. That's the beauty of having a family, actually, belonging.
And we tend to repeat, don't we? We tend to repeat a lot of things which which isn't very,
What we reject, we repeat. That's all it is. So of course, my clients are like, Maureen, I don't like my mom. I hate my dad, like I don't want to look like my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweetie, you are going to repeat it no matter what, because you are rejecting it right now. And it is through acceptance and respect towards, like your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your sister, your brother, like whoever, and finally you can move on. Because it's about you. Do you want to be happy in your present moment, or do you still want to face your past, like and desperately trying to do something that no matter what, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to change.
And I think also, family constellation is not just if you have issues with your family, right? It's basically for everything, because, I didn't come to you because I have issues in my family, which, I think we all do. But I came to you for a specific reason, which was, my relationship. But yet, everything that was happening in my relationship was what had happened in what I had seen.
Exactly. Because the thing is, again, your family system is your first system, your first foundation. So wherever you will go, with whoever you will go, you will take it with you. So at work, with your friends, with your partner, with your children, anyone. So if you really want to do the work, start with your family, and then finally you will see that maybe, again, on a very subconscious level, you have been asking your partner to heal your relationship with your dad, but your partner is like, I'm really sorry, but I cannot do it because I don't even understand what, you're asking,
I have no idea of what you're saying.
Like, you know what? Like, I am listening to you, but he's like, no, you're not listening to me. My father did the same, and now I won't get trapped with you, so be careful. Right. And your partner is like, okay.
Like, you are crazy.
Exactly. I'm going therapy. Forget about it, just pause, pause and ask yourself, maybe this is something, related to my story, like what happened to me, and heal that part first. And then you can move, towards your partner or your children or your friends, whoever you need to take care. Yeah.
I love what you said, though. What you reject, you repeat. Yeah, amazing. Let's talk a little bit about creating boundaries. I think people, a lot of people may not really know like how to create boundaries with their family, right? Because it's like, well, they're my family, so here's my mom, here's my dad, here's my brother, my sister, whatever. So we're family, we're supposed to do this or whatever. But could you a little bit from the lens of family constellation, first of all, why we need boundaries? Why we need them, and then how do we create those healthy boundaries with our family?
Yeah. So first of all, the difference between a child and an adult is actually having boundaries. That's the difference. Children have no boundaries. Like, I'm sure like we have mom and dad here, like when you want to go to the bathroom, your child will follow you. You know what? Like, no, mom, I really don't care, like if you need some time, like I'm just coming with you. Okay, so no boundaries. Children have no boundaries. As an adult, finally, normally we should set up like a boundary, like this is my space and this is your space here, so then I can see you and I can respect you and I can accept you as you are, without merging with you, without taking on like your feelings and your emotions. Okay, so there is a respect. But the thing is, it is difficult because most of the time you're like, well, if I have a boundary, do I still belong? Am I still seen? Am I still heard? Am I still recognized, by others? Or do I still need, like to create, like that codependency as a child mom/dad to be seen and so existed, like in my life? That's the trick here. We are so afraid of being rejected, of not belonging, of not being seen. So even as an adult, we are going to react with our inner child, the little us, like that we used to be, and be like, no, you know what? I'm still going, like to leave my entire space, like fully open. You can put whatever you want in it, and I will deal with it. But when you are an adult, when you respect your life, when you take responsibilities, yes, of course, you are going to set up boundaries because you know that, no, mom, you cannot come, every Sunday while I'm with my wife and my children, like I know you love me and I love you, but this is also my space here. And I respect your space. And when finally you're able to set up boundaries, you will also respect others' boundaries. And that's the beauty of it. And especially with that lockdown, I'm sure you need boundaries, you know, like you don't want to be with your partner, you know, like 24 hours and 7 days, you know, like you still
maybe,
need, you know,
maybe in the beginning.
yeah, in the beginning, oh yeah, it was like, yeah, full love, full passion,
Right,
let's have
right.
sex, you know, let's talk, you know. After 10 days, it's like, okay, I'm over it, you know, like I need my space. And that's healthy.
But I think that's the key thing also, like, so we're going on now, you know, 5.5 years in a relationship, like that's a long time.
Yeah,
And I think
that's
the
beautiful.
trick is it's really, you know, creating those boundaries. Like, this is my space, this is your space, then let's connect and really, you know, fuel each other because of the work we're both doing. You know, I can't do the work for him and he can't do it for me. And then we come together and we create this incredible, you know, energy. And then we leave, we do more work, we come back, you know. So it's and I found that, you know, yes, boundaries it helps you so much, whether it is your partner or your, you know, your family. But in the beginning, it's hard though, isn't it? Because if your family's not used to you creating a boundary, right? And you're like, yes, you'll do everything. Okay, you know, yes, mom, yes, dad, yes, you know, whoever, your aunt, your uncle, whatever, and then you implement a boundary, isn't it possible that you're going to get, you know, this...
Of course, because you feel guilty. You feel guilty. You know, having boundaries is knowing yourself, is knowing what you want in your life. And no matter what, whenever we want to be happy, there is always at first a sense of guilt, no matter what. Guilt is always connected to being happy.
Why?
That's all it is.
Why?
Because it's just, you know, like maybe I'm going to hurt my mom, you know, I know my mom needs me, you know, like, but I know maybe she needs you, but it is not your problem. Unfortunately, you cannot do anything for her. She needs to do her own work, you know, maybe with her own mother. And I know it's hard, you know, like to do, you know, like, but the thing is, your life also depends on it, you know, like, it's just like you want also to be, you know, at ease with your life and at peace, you know, with your life and with your partner again, you know. So if you're not like, mom, I really love you, but I am your daughter and you are my mother and you are behind me. I know you are doing your best, you know, but this is that guilt, you know, of like, maybe they're going to push me back. Maybe they're going to reject me. And maybe, yes, it will happen. But guess what? It's also going to happen if your family maybe has addictions and you're an addict too, and you want to break free from that. Yes, you're also going to feel guilty because at first it was your only way of connecting with your family. So now, how do I connect? And this is why sometimes we're so reluctant, you know, to heal. Because who am I when I'm not depressed, when I'm not anxious, when I'm a single mom, when I'm not a single mom anymore, when I'm happy with a man, when I'm not, you know, like in a domestic, you know, violence, you know, like with my husband, you know, like who am I when I'm not doing the same thing that my family has been doing over and over again? But the thing is, who are you if you don't break the cycle? If you don't connect to your life? Your destiny matters the most. Every child is the next chance of breaking free, of healing that family system. And this is your job to do it if you want. That's what you have to understand.
It's powerful. So how do we even start by creating these boundaries? You know, if you had one tip, because I know I'm sure you have tons, but if you had one specific tip on creating a boundary.
I think it will be to really acknowledge your role, your place. Like, and really maybe doing that affirmation, very simple. You are my mother. You are my father. I am your daughter. I am your son. You know, like, just like, you know, like, because it has to happen first and foremost, you know, on a conscious level. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. I'm the daughter and I am enough. I am enough, you know, like, so finally, when you get that breakthrough of like, but I am enough as I am. I cannot do, you know, more, you know, that my role, you know, right now. I do think it can already help you to set those boundaries, no matter what.
To connect back to that enoughness. Yeah.
Exactly. Enoughness and place. I have my place. I don't need, you know, to get any other places or roles, you know, like I am enough.
Because we're all playing roles, aren't we? We're all,
of course.
Yeah. Of course. Let's talk a little bit about energetic energetic things that we collect unconsciously again, right? I mean,
It's
I
all
think I think a lot
unconscious.
of this work is happening when you actually do become more aware and more conscious. But how can we break free from our energetic lineage? And first of all, before that question, what is the difference between an energetic lineage and actually like a physical, or an emotional pattern that we, collect that is not very good habit,
Yeah.
or, what's the difference between the emotional and the energetic? And then the question of how can we break free? You could explain a little bit of that.
Of course.
And I love your
Actually,
passion. I love your passion, and
thank
we're
you.
getting so
You
many
too. You're also a
likes
very
and
passionate
and
woman. You
and
know what? Like, this is
hearts,
why we
and
are connected.
and I
Like,
love, I love people from France, and you're amazing. I'm so happy to have you
thank you
here.
so much, B. Thank
Yeah,
you for your
yeah,
trust. So first of all, I don't think there is any difference, between, like energetically and emotions, and feelings,
okay,
because the thing is, your emotions are actually energetically connected to your family system. So it's the same thing, like different words, but same
okay,
thing actually. What you have to understand is, even scientifically, like it has been proven
yeah,
that from generation to generation, we can pass on traumas through our cells. The term is epigenetic. So this
yes,
is why also it's also very important, for you to understand your story and understand how your body works. And you can definitely connect to your body, with yoga, with B, for example, like our breath work, but your body is actually a gift. Because whatever you need to understand about yourself and about your story, it's with your body. So that's the first thing, first of all. Then we are energetically connected. When you enter a room and you don't know anybody, but you don't feel it, I don't feel it. I don't like being here. You don't even talk to someone. It's just like, it's a feeling, it's a gut feeling, and you should trust it. It's the same thing with your family. Since you were born, you have been absorbing, like feelings and emotions, like from your family. Let's say, for example, mom was crying a lot. And every time you're like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, yes, sweetie, I'm okay. Don't worry. No, 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 she was not okay. You could feel it, that my mommy was not okay. And this is what we carry on. This is what we carry on our shoulders, like that's the burdens here. And so in order to break free from it, we need to go back to our emotions, because the story is one thing. Just to clear this, our story can also become our addiction, and so an excuse. Oh, but Maureen, my father was violent, so this is why I'm violent. Yes, that's a very lovely story, like good movie, but no, you are still responsible, if you want to break free from that violence, from that addictions, like from anything, that you have been dealing with.
yeah,
Okay, that's very, very important. Your story, yes, can become an addiction, and so an excuse, like to be like, no, you know what? It's not my fault. It's my mom, it's my dad. No, 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 it does
yeah,
not work like that, first of all. But then, when you really want to heal, you need to reconnect to your emotion and feelings. That's all it is. Until you don't feel, until you don't let your emotions, like coming back, you will still get stuck. Because yes, you can understand your story on an intellectual level, but what about on an emotional level?
right,
What really happened? Because yes, you can tell me, Maureen, my father is an asshole. Okay, that's a story. But then you are going to do a deeper work on an emotional level, and you're going to cry. And you're going to be like, no, I love my father, actually. I know you love him.
right,
But what about replacing that story now? What about healing? What about moving on? That's the gift here.
yeah. It is. It's changing the narrative. It's
Yeah,
changing the story, right? Because
exactly.
a story is a
It's a
belief
belief.
system,
It's a
isn't
belief
it?
system. And
So
you can
when we,
believe whatever you want.
right, right,
But that might not be actually the truth and the reality.
yeah, yeah. It reminds me of this question that I keep asking myself is that what is true? That's another thing, right? Because if today I'm feeling like
Exactly.
this, and then tomorrow I'm feeling another way, so which one is true and which one is real? And I guess the beauty of this work is the more you dive into yourself, you actually understand that, yeah, wow, okay, I am a part of my family, and all
Yeah.
this things that are happening in my life is because of the foundation of my family, what I've seen, what I've learned, what I've heard.
Exactly.
You know, how do my parents argue? I'm probably going to argue the same way because I don't
Probably.
know a different way.
Probably, yeah.
So how do we find good ways and good examples, and it really starts from us. Like you said, I love how you said, you know, it's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility.
You know, taking that responsibility and saying, I can do this. I can break this.
Of course. And successful healing equals, you know, like taking responsibility.
Yeah.
As long as you take responsibility for your life, what you want to give, what you want to receive, how you want to love, how you want to be seen, that will be magic. Yeah, you're all set. That will be magic.
So you talked a little bit about trauma.
Yeah.
So these past traumas that we, you know, that we kind of take in. So these traumas, are we taking it, you know, in conception, right? Our parents are making love, and then is that like sort of, does it happen there? Does it happen when we're a fetus? Does it happen when we are born into this dimension? How does trauma even happen from the lens of family constellation?
So trauma is a big word, but trauma is anything that we are unable to process and to cope with. So it can be as, I wanted a cookie and mommy, you know, like slapped my hand. Oh my God, I felt offended, you know, it's a trauma. Or it can be, of course, you know, like sexual abuse,
of course,
war stories, you know, like violence, you know, like, you know, all of those, you know, but trauma is anything that unfortunately you were unable to process and to cope with. Okay. And the thing is, with trauma, what happens with the brain is a disconnection between your left and right side of your brain. So your emotions cannot be processed on an intellectual level. And then you just stay stuck with that pain, with that suffering, you know, with that situation. Okay. So therapy is actually the reconciliation of your right and left side of your brain, you know, like in order to heal, you know, like the trauma. Okay. That's the first thing here. Then I do think, you know what, if before your birth, you know, like if before your conception, you know, like traumas have not been healed, recognized and acknowledged, yes, there is a chance that you will be carrying those traumas. Because as I just said earlier, you know, like through epigenetic, you know, like discovery, traumas can be passed on from generation to generation through our cells. That discovery was made based on the Holocaust. Because 3 generations after the Holocaust, they discovered that that new generation still have the same PTSD as the great-parents or the great-grandparents. And they were like, that's weird, you know, there is something off here, you know, like how is that possible, you know, that without experiencing, you know, like the real situation, you are still dealing with it. So there is that first part of your family story that might have been passed on to you. And because you are the next best chance for your family, you might actually do the job, do the work, you know, for them on their behalf. Or there is also your own story with your own childhood. And yes, traumas can happen as a fetus. For example, my mom fell off under a train when she was 7 months pregnant of me. Of course, she was very scared, you know, like for her life and, you know, my life, you know, like in her belly. And she told me at the age of 2 months, you know, like she was on her way to pick up my father at the train station. And she told me when the train arrived, you had to scream. It was beyond, you know, like it was not a scream like I'm hungry, you know, my diaper, you know, is dirty. No, it was a real scream, you know, like of deep fear. And of course, my mom at that moment, you know, she was 25. She was like, okay, what's that? You know, but then when I, you know, finally doing family, she was like, I'm sure you felt that fear, you know, and that scream, you know, like was from your wound, you know, like deeply, deeply, you know, imprinted. So, but it can also be like maybe your parents got separated when your mom was pregnant. And so you deeply felt, you know, your mom's emotions. It did impact you no matter what. Or maybe your mom lost her father. And of course, again, you know, like you felt, you know, that sadness. And it can also happen, you know, during your childhood as a teenager. I don't hear, you know, like it's pretty vast, you know, like it can be as violence, abuse, you know, like depression, too many children at home, poverty, you know, like those also can be your own traumas. And of course, that work will be more based on you as an inner child and how, like we can again reconcile, that part of your life. So it's two different types, like of work, like it's either your own traumas, like what happened and you are here to tell me what happened, or it can also be part of your family. But just for no matter what you have been through since your childhood, it did not start with you. You are not the first one with sexual abuse or immigration or depression or eating disorders. The root is behind you, no matter what. Okay, it did not start with you, but it can end with you. Yeah. That's just what I wanted to add.
I love that. I think that's why now it sort of makes sense. Like as I'm thinking about the sessions that we did, going backwards. You kept saying go back. Those people behind you, right? So it's like it started way before you. So it's like going to that root, finding that root cause, whether you actually have an answer. I think, with this kind of, there is no answer. There's no like, okay, B, you need to do this or that or whatever. It's just that I keep coming back to that switch of seeing something completely different in a completely new way. Yeah. Now, while we're on the subject, there was a great question here. And folks, if you do have questions for Maureen, just go ahead and put it in the comments.
There is one of my best friends. I have to say hi.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, ma chérie.
Bonjour, mon chéri. Why do some siblings have trauma, but others don't? Yeah. Does birth order matter? Great question.
The order matter. Most of the time.
It does?
Yeah, it does. Because the oldest one, I am the oldest one. I have a little brother.
Me too,
not so little anymore, but I'm the oldest one. The thing is, the oldest child is the only child with the two parents at first. Then all of the other siblings, you all have to share your parents, like with the oldest siblings. So you are in a way the most impacted, like influenced by your parents, because for the simple reason that you did not share your parents, like with any of your siblings for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years. So in a way, on a subconscious level, it was like, okay, I'm the only one here who can help mom and dad. So I need, to do the entire work. That's all it is. Like just as a metaphor, that's all it is. I'm the superhero. I'm going to help mom and dad. I don't know if I will have another sibling. So let me take care of it. Okay. That's the first thing. Then in a family of 3 children, and again, okay, like it's general here, but the middle one, the second one, it's a very difficult place to have because you are not the oldest one and you are not the youngest one. So you are trying to belong like, who am I? So that can also be the tricky place for you. Maybe you can develop addictions, like, or short temper, just to be seen, just to be acknowledged, like that's all it is. When also you're part of a family with a lot of children, like 4, 5, 6, sometimes it's too much. Where do I belong? Like how can I connect, like with my mom, with my dad, like, so this also can be explained. But then just to go back to your questions, my brother has his own, traumas, like, and
do you have a relationship with your sibling?
Yeah. My brother. Yeah. He got his share, I would say, and I got mine, like, and if you ask my brother, okay, what's your story? And if you ask me what my story, both of our stories are completely different, because we all have, like a perception, toward our parents. But the thing is, he also had to deal, like with burdens, like coming from our family, like on his own, while actually, let's say long story short, my brother was an addict. I was never an addict, but I was sexually abused at the age of 13 years old. And he was not sexually abused. The sexual abuse is part of my family, yes. The addiction also part of my family, yes. But then it's like, okay, you take this, I take that, and let's do it. One of my very, very good friends, she had a very, very difficult time to get pregnant. And she was like, well, actually my sister, in an instant, like she was pregnant. It's not fair, like, but the thing is, it's not about fairness, it's just about like, in a way, your mission in life, and what you have to go through in order to discover your true self, like I think if you could see that, like through that way, it will help you to be like, no, you are not a victim. Okay, you are not a victim. You are just trying to belong. And this is the only way that you found to belong. But still, you can emerge, and rebirth, as a new person every day. Okay, like there is absolutely no curse, no malediction. How many times I hear, Marina, I'm cursed. I'm cursed. I'm like, no, sweetie, you are not cursed. You just want to belong. That's all it is. It's based on love.
We all
It's
want to
only
belong,
love.
don't
It's
we?
only love. You want to belong. So yes, maybe you are cursed, but it's a love curse, you know what? Because you want to be seen. That's all it is. No curse, no malediction. No, never.
We
Never,
all want
never.
to be loved, and so
Yeah.
we all do things. Maybe we act out in a way of, how can I get more love? But
Yeah.
like you're saying, how can I be seen?
Yeah.
And in those, moments, sometimes we mess up and we think
Exactly.
that, okay, well, I'm cursed, or the story of, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah.
I have such bad luck. I'm always the victim, right? So I think it's really about stepping out of that victim mindset, and instead of, right, isn't it like, okay, this happened to me and this is the way I am? No, actually, despite that happening to me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take responsibility of my healing. I'm going to do what's required. I'm going to do the yoga. I'm going to do the therapy. I'm going to have a great relationship with my parents, and I am going to, break the cycle and really step into what I'm supposed to do.
It takes courage to be happy. It's easier to be miserable, okay, and to play the victim card. Like, don't get me wrong here. But the day you choose to be happy, I can guarantee you that your life is going to be magical, because you will be the one in charge. But yes, it takes courage to be happy. It takes courage to heal. And this is why it's always an honor to work with my clients, because I know it was hard to make that first move.
Yes, and it's also, I think, what's really hard, Maureen, is, a lot of my clients and students, the narrative that I hear a lot is, but I've tried this, and I tried that, and I tried that, and I tried that, and it's like they have no more hope.
Yeah.
It's like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, how can I break free from this? And why
Go back to
Family
basics.
Constellation works so quickly is because it's like
simple.
you go to your DNA. It's like you're going to your DNA and you're rewriting your DNA.
Exactly. Go to simplicity. We have been over complicating, like healing, like we need to do this, we need to do that. No, just go back to simplicity, to your breath, to your body, to your story. That's all it takes. That's all. That's all.
We have another question. This is from the Glow Wellness. She says, but you cannot choose to have a healthy relationship with people who are unhealthy. Sometimes the boundary isn't enough. What would you say to that, Maureen?
Of course you can choose to have a healthy relationship. Like, it's not because they're unhealthy that you need to have an unhealthy relationship with them. Again, you can just say, I respect you, I see you, but here is my boundary because I am healthy. Mm-hmm. My relationship with myself is healthy. That's all it is, When someone is angry, are you going to be angry too? Or are you going to set up that boundary? I acknowledge you are angry right now, but you know what? It's not about me right now. Mm-hmm. It's trusting others. And if you know that person is toxic for you, it is, again, your choice.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Whether they are friends or family or whatever sibling, it's really knowing how to...
Exactly. You choose your life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was painful, of course, because I love people, but that was toxic, and unhealthy for me, and I had to just let them go. But again, do you want to choose yourself, or do you want to choose someone else?
Right, exactly. Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. I have more questions. I feel like it always is this rabbit hole, isn't it? It's like you open something.
It's always like that.
Yeah. But what are you, especially right now with what's happening, with the pandemic and COVID-19, is there a theme that you see in your clients? It's like the same theme, or and maybe it's become a little bit more elevated because of what we're experiencing right now.
Definitely.
But what are some themes that really show up for you that you deal with?
Most of the time it's about relationships, you know.
Relationships.
I'm also specialized in sexual traumas. So of course, you know, like I have also like more women, you know, like coming to me. But I would say in regard to that pandemic situation, what has been happening for all of my clients, myself including, is our worst fear came back. And it's time now to acknowledge it and deal with it. If you do that work, again, it's going to shift very, very quickly. But because we are stuck, we are blocked, you know, with our true self, it's like, okay, you know what? You still need to do it.
Yeah.
That's what has been happening from my clients until now.
So unblocking. Yeah.
Unblocking, yeah. The
Yeah.
deepest fear. Yeah.
We have another question from Maria Del Mar. How to establish a boundary with a longtime friend with a different religious, spiritual practice than hers?
Respect and
So,
acceptance. Respect and acceptance.
how would she do that? Like,
You are Muslim. I am Christian. I see you. I accept you as you are. I take you as you are. I accept myself. I take myself as I am. It's just respect, you know? Like, yeah, and acceptance.
and if someone isn't respecting you or accepting you, then put
It's
that
your
boundary.
Exactly. Here's
Right,
your
and
choice.
here's
to
your
be like,
choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to
Exactly.
continue trying to make this person
Yeah.
love you, acknowledge
Exactly.
you?
If your reaction will be based with your inner child, you are going to try. You need to be like, no, no, come on, I can change. You know, let's do something. If you're an adult, well grounded, you'll be like, you know what? Thank you so much for everything, but I cannot do it for you.
Right.
That's the difference between being an adult and acting, behaving as a child. When you are an adult, of course.
When you're an adult, yeah.
Yeah.
And another question that kind of plays with that is Lila's play says, I have a question about deciding whether to cut ties with toxic parents or try to heal the relationship. How do you know which choice is best?
Well, it is your choice, actually. You know what? Like, toxic parents, it's very tricky. And sometimes, unfortunately, yes, it does mean to cut, you know, ties, you know, with them. Because again, it's about you now. It's about your destiny. And whatever will bring you the most comfort will be actually the best choice decision. And you know what? Maybe in a few years, you will come back together. But at first, take care of your relationship with them through you and your story. And then let's see what might happen.
Yeah. It's so powerful. Once upon a time, I was I was asked, and we've done a lot of healing, but I was asked from my family. It's like either your family or the decision that you're about to make, which I think a lot of family members do that, right? It's like either you're going to choose your family or you're going to choose yourself. Yeah. So then we feel that guilt, like you were saying,
Yes.
that guilt of happiness.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and in fact, I did choose myself, and that then what that happened was it turned into them disowning me. I was completely disowned from the family for under a year. So still a long time to be to not have that contact. But within that stage, really showing up for myself. Like this is what I need to do for myself in order to grow. And then when it was like time to come back together, which somehow you always end up, whether it's a year or 5 years or 10 years, you're still going to come and connect with your family. And that space truly helped us to move past. Yeah. Because it's not like, and I think people tend to be like, well, you did this and you did this and you did this. Like, why are we still repeating the story? Let's just love each other. Let's move on and love each other.
Exactly. That's beautiful.
We have one more question. I just want to, we'll have time for one more. Enjoy Yoga, she says, do you have to have access to family history to heal via this kind of therapy?
No, because the thing is, some of my clients, they don't know nothing, about their family, but your body will know. Yeah. So
your body knows, yeah.
Exactly, your body knows. So do not worry about that. Like whatever you know, it's already enough, and then your body will take care of it. And so through the healing, yeah.
We've got a couple more. How do you move forward? This is from Sunny San Diego. How do you move forward when it's your relationship with your adult child who behaves like an adolescent? Let me repeat that again.
Yeah, please. Yeah? Thank you so much.
How do you move forward when it's your relationship with your adult child who behaves like an adolescent?
You have to talk. Yeah, I think you're talking about you as an adult being, like led, and guided by your inner child and your adolescent right now. You need to talk to her or him. You need to tell her, hey, sweetie, thank you so much for everything, but now I'm 35 and I am the one in charge. You need to reconcile with that age, when it happened, like, so meditate, what? Like connect to her, connect to him, and then you will see what he or she needs from you.
Amazing. Maureen, I mean, I could keep you, like you said, 5 hours,
Me too.
but we don't have much time. Is there any last thing that you would like to finish up with? Any advice you can give us? Any tips? Anything you would like for us to remember?
I think just choose yourself, choose your destiny, okay? There is no shame or guilt to have when you want to be happy. Like life is supposed to be fun. So just enjoy the ride, and enjoy yourself and just connect to people that really love you for who you are. And yeah, just have fun, and go back to simplicity, okay? Just be simple, like that's the best thing I would like to say. And if you have any other questions, feel free to send an email to B or to me,
And
it will be my pleasure.
yes, how can people find you? What are you doing right now? I know you've got a lot of online programs happening.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and how people can connect with you.
I'm still working remotely, like online, so you can book a private session. I've been also offering online workshops. Everything is on my website or on my Instagram. It's Marine Sélénée. And of course, please feel free to send me your questions, like DM me, and I will answer you back.
Yes, guys, she's fabulous. Marine, I love you so much. Honestly,
thank you so much, B.
You have such
thank
a special place in my heart. Thank you for spending this hour with us. Be well.
Thank you so much, B. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, so that was a very, very important topic, I think, for a lot of us. And I hope you were able to get a little bit of inspiration from that, as well as just the light, to really see the light. And connect with Marine. She's on here right now. So her website is marineselénée.com. Or you can go to her Instagram and just check out her website, DM, whatever is more convenient. She's got incredible workshops. Please take her workshops. And, I think I would like to just end with my tagline that is so appropriate right now is that you have the capacity to heal yourself. You truly, truly do. And that truly starts by connecting first to yourself, your inner child, and then, of course, to your family. So to love them, to forgive them, and then to move on. And it can be done. It can be done. All it needs is a little bit of faith and, of course, the courage to rise. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in this week. Next week, I have a very, very special guest, John Wineland. John Wineland and I worked about a year and a half ago. He is an exceptional facilitator. He works with embodiment, intimacy, sexuality. He does women's work as well as men's work and as well as couples work. His work is so fascinating, and I am so, so excited to have him on the show next Sunday at 1:30 to talk a little bit about what the masculine and what the feminine craves. So really, what men truly crave and what women truly crave, and really uniting and harmonizing those two polarities. As you can probably tell, every week it's really the same kind of foundation, right? It's all the same foundation with different ways of looking at our healing. So thank you so much, you guys. Be well, stay safe, and I'll see you next Sunday on my Sacred Sundays on iTunes.